Let's go ahead and dive right in and start talking about Original Medicare. Now, Original Medicare is going to form the foundation of your Medicare coverage. This is the coverage that we build upon by adding a Medicare Supplement, Medicare Advantage, or prescription drug plan, but we have to have Original Medicare before we do anything else. Now, Original Medicare is comprised of two parts. The first part is called Part A, which is known as your hospitalization coverage. Part A of Original Medicare covers everything basically inside of a hospital, skilled nursing facility, rehab facility, nursing home, hospice, things like that. So Part A covers inpatient hospital or other facility-based care. Now, the premium for Medicare Part A is typically free. As long as you or your spouse have paid in your FICA taxes and worked for at least 10 years, then your Part A premium is free. Good little rule of thumb is that if you're eligible for Social Security benefits, then you're most likely eligible for Medicare Part A at no cost. The next part of Original Medicare is called Medicare Part B, also known as typically as your major medical or your doctor coverage. This basically covers everything outside of the hospital. So this is going to cover your doctor's visits, your outpatient care, lab tests, x-rays, blood work, preventative services, things of that nature. So Part B of Medicare is really the big one. That's what we use most often. And Medicare Part B does have a premium based on your income. Now, the way that Medicare calculates your Medicare Part B premium is based on your income. And what they use is they use the income off of your tax return 2 years prior to the current year. So in 2023, Medicare is using our 2021 tax returns to determine our income level and set our Medicare Part B premium. Now, most people pay the base Medicare Part B premium, which means if you make $97,000 per year or less as an individual, or if you make $194,000 a year or less as a married couple filing jointly, then you will pay the base Medicare premium of $164.90. Now, over 70% of all Medicare beneficiaries pay this base premium. In the event that you do have a higher income above those that category I just mentioned, then you simply use this chart to find the appropriate income range and your correct Medicare Part B premium. Now, one of the common questions we get is, if you had a high income while you were working that would have fallen in one of these higher categories, and then you've recently retired or are planning to retire, and your income is going to drop down below the base category or base requirements for Medicare premiums, all you have to do is simply let Medicare know that you've retired. We've had a change of income, and let them know what your current income is, and they will put you in the appropriate premium category. You don't have to wait 2 years for them to look at your tax return. If you have a life-changing event like retirement, then you can go ahead and just file a simple appeal letter and they will correct your premium. So that's how we find our Medicare Part B premiums. If you have any questions or if you need any help or getting a copy of that premium appeal, if that's something that you would need to do, just let us know. It's real simple. We can get you those forms. Now, we're going to talk about prescription drug coverage here at the end, but while we're talking about these premiums based on your income, there is one other part of your coverage I do want to mention, and that is the Medicare Part D prescription drug plan premium that is affected by your income as well. So as long as you, again, make $97,000 per year or less as an individual, or $194,000 per year or less as a married couple filing jointly, then you simply pay the plan premium of your prescription drug plan. You just pay whatever the plan charges, and that's it. If you by chance fall into one of these higher income categories, then, for example, if you make as a married couple between $246,000 and $306,000 per year, then Medicare would add an additional $32.50 on top of your plan premium, just as an example. So you can find your appropriate income level and your appropriate Part D income related premium adjustment. So that covers the Medicare Part B and Part D premiums. So now that we've talked a little bit about Part A of Medicare and Part B of Medicare, let's talk now about what that coverage actually looks like when you go to use it at the doctor or the hospital. So this chart shows you what you would owe if you only had original Medicare coverage. If you didn't have anything else other than original Medicare and you went to the hospital, you're going to owe a roughly $1,500 deductible day one that you go to the hospital. And then, depending on how long your hospital stay is, you could owe tens of thousands of dollars in additional costs out of pocket for expenses that fall under Medicare Part A. Now, for Medicare Part B, you're going to owe a flat 20% of all of your Part B medical bills. That's a big one. Paying 20% of our medical bills is really not affordable at all. So what I typically use here is the example of a heart attack. The average claim for a heart attack is around $100,000. So if you only had original Medicare, you could owe up to $20,000 for that one claim. Now, there's one other column to the right, a little known thing called excess charges. Excess charges are an additional 15% that some doctors are allowed to bill on top of what Medicare pays them, and they're allowed to bill that 15% directly to you. So in actuality, you could end up paying, if you went to a doctor that charged excess charges, up to 35% of the bill for your Part B medical expenses, which is just astronomical. So that really shows why original Medicare is great as a foundation to your coverage, but it's not complete medical coverage. That's where we have to talk about next, choosing a path on how you would like to receive your Medicare benefits and how we would like to cover these expenses. The good news is Medicare's given us two great options, different solutions for how we're going to cover all of the expenses on this page, or at least make them significantly more affordable.